for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Mr. William Scott Ezekiel, age 62, of Sylacauga, died Friday, and there will be a private family-only service today at Curtis and Son North, and private family-only burial in Evergreen Cemetery. Online condolences at CurtisandSonFH.com. You may make donations in lieu of flowers. Donation can be made to the Odina Baptist Church, Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Mrs. Mary Horton died at Sylacauga Health and Rehab last night, Monday. Curtis and Son Funeral Home announcing. And Carolyn Buckner of Eclectic died at her residence on Monday morning. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, announcing the arrangements. And the visitation for Dorothy Rudd, age 74, of Sylacauga, will be Wednesday from 1 until 2 at Curtis and Son North, with the funeral service beginning at 2 in the North Chapel. Burial in the Tallahatchie Cemetery. Memories and expressions of sympathy may be shared at CurtisandSonFH.com for the Rudd family. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Philip Elliott, age 70, is Thursday at 11 a.m. from Logan Martin Church of Christ, with interment in the Alabama National Cemetery in Montevallo at 2 o'clock. The family will receive friends on Thursday from 10 until 11 at the church. Mr. Elliott died December 4th. Kilgore Funeral Home, Pell City, directing. Funeral arrangements will be announced for Ms. Lois Embry, age 92, of Talladega. Those announcements made by S.M. Goodson Funeral Home. And funeral arrangements to be announced for Mrs. Sonia High, age 57. Those arrangements to be announced as well by S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, Talladega. Sherry Renee Jacobs, age 50, died December 5th. Services to be announced at a later date through Talladega Funeral Home. Mrs. Hilda Bumgardner Hurst, age 77, formerly of Alexander City, died December 4th. A private funeral service will be held for the family. And Radley Funeral Home, Alexander City, directing. Alice Frances Lowe Sasser died December 5th. Graveside service at the Church of her youth. That's Penton Church of God in Lafayette, Alabama. That'll be Wednesday at 10 a.m. Brother Steve Dias officiating. And Radley Funeral Home, Alexander City, in charge of the arrangement. Memorial message may be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. And funeral service for Alfred Paul Churchwell, age 80, of Sylacauga, is today at 11 o'clock from the chapel of Radley Smith Funeral Home. Brother Mike Johnson, along with Brother Colton Spates, officiating. Burial in Midfield at 2 o'clock at the Valhalla Cemetery. Visitation today, 9 until 11 o'clock at the funeral home. Radley Smith Funeral Home, directing. And graveside service for Joan Faye Mixon, age 83, is today at 2 o'clock from Evergreen Cemetery. Brother Donnie Blackman officiating. Ms. Mixon died Tuesday, November 24th, in West Kittering Nursing Home in Ohio. She's formerly from Sylacauga, and she was a retired nurse from the Alabama Deaf and Blind School in Talladega. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga, in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report brought to you by Curtis and Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. Curtis and Son Funeral Home for pre-need funerals, burials, and cremation since 1975. Call 256-245-4361. That's Curtis and Son Funeral Home.